So I saw a pretty twisted movie, and I really enjoyed it. So Emelie is a simple thriller / horror film. Well, I guess it's more of a suspense thriller, but it has got horror elements within it. The movie is about this family. The parents are going to go out for an evening for their anniversary. They have 3 kids, the oldest being 11, then the middle child, a little girl, and a little boy as well. But their usual babysitter canceled, and so their usual babysitter, thankfully, has another friend who babysits. So they get this babysitter named Amy. She seems to be good with kids, the kids seem to like her, and so she babysits the kids while the parents are away. But as the night progresses, Amy starts letting the kids do things that their parents normally wouldn't let them do. It's cool at first, but then it slowly becomes very horrifying. And so basically you get an evil babysitter movie. Now I really enjoyed this movie. It's a very simple premise, but it's executed very cleverly and quite exciting. Now acting-wise, there wasn't anything amazing, but there were 2 really good performances still. Those being the oldest kid and the babysitter herself. Now Joshua Rush was our main kid, our oldest kid. His name was Jacob. I haven't seen him in anything that I recognize, but he has done a lot of voice work, mainly from the Disney Channel. Now last year we had a lot of great child actors, a lot that probably deserved nominations. Now he's no Abraham Attah from Beasts of No Nation or Jacob Tremblay from Room, but Joshua Rush does feel like a believable 11-year-old or whatever old he was supposed to be in this movie. And he was definitely a good main character to focus on, even though he is a bit of your cliched little preteen angst type character. Now Sarah Bulger plays the babysitter. You might recognize her as Sleeping Beauty in Once Upon a Time, or a character named Jade in Into the Badlands. I haven't seen Into the Badlands. I heard it's really good. Or movie-wise, you might recognize her in The Lazarus Effect. Yeah, she was the other girl in the movie because there was 2 girls and I think 3 guys, was it, that get the main cast? But you know what? She was really creepy in this movie. Towards the beginning of this movie, she really straddled the line between being someone who's likable, who's being deceivingly likable. She has a bit of a subtle performance where you can tell that something is not quite right with her, but not glaringly obvious.
What if I told you that you didn't have to be a boy or a girl or a human, really anything, to be whatever you wanted, and all you had to do was pretend? Pretending is this superpower we all have. When we pretend, we can be anyone we want to be. When we get really good at it, people won't even know you're pretending anymore.
I don't want to pretend.
Good.
I thought she handled it really well. For the other 2 kids, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes I was annoyed with them, but nothing movie-breaking. Well, except when it comes to the youngest kid, Charlie. Yeah, he was a little annoying at times, and not because of the character, but because the acting was not all there. But then again, it was a young kid, so what are you going to do? Now, it does take that simple premise of an evil babysitter storyline. If you've seen that type of film before, you know the structure of the movie, you know the plot points that are going to happen. However, the movie usually takes a slightly different, twisted route in order to get to those plot points, which I really found unique. This is also not one of those movies that has a big twist, a big reveal, where the babysitter is not who she says she is. This is one of those movies that's smart enough to know that we as the audience is going to know this anyway, and so they let us in on the little twist right from the get-go. Now to some viewers, the first scene is going to seem like it's a completely random scene and has nothing to do with the storyline. It would be stupid of you to think that, but I can understand how some people might feel that way. And so I think some of that could be lost on you, but if you really pay attention to the movie does give you the twist right away, and it becomes more of a mystery of when the kids are going to find out, as well as what is her ultimate motivations. That's the real twist in the movie. And that's really the exciting thing that kept my interest throughout the movie. Now, this movie isn't twisted in the sick, disturbing, gory way that other horror movies or other thrillers might go. This movie has a different sense of the word twisted, some of which may offend a lot of audience. Like the games she plays with these kids are a little freaky, really creepy, really goddamn creepy, but twisted in a way that you wouldn't expect. And there are two scenes in this movie that I've heard people have a lot of complaints about. And I can definitely see why. It's quite offensive to most people, especially when it's kids sitting through these twisted games. The scenes I'm talking about, in case you've seen it or you haven't seen it and you don't want me to give too much away, basically the scenes are the python feeding and when the babysitter decides to watch a home video with the kids. There's definitely a lot of red flags when it comes to these certain scenes, especially having to put the kids through these sorts of scenes. And it does have the indication that maybe it's just there for shock value, but there is definitely purpose to it. Again, I don't want to give the motivations away of the babysitter. I don't want to reveal the twist for you or give too much away. But if you understand the motivations of the babysitter, if you understand what her goal is, and think about these twisted games as ways of testing the children, then I think you can come up with the same conclusion I did of why these scenes are there. But if not, if you have seen the movie and you still don't know why those scenes are there and think it's just shock value, ask away and I will tell you in the comments below. But yeah, because of these two scenes, it might be a little too much for people and people might take great offense to this movie. There's a lot of great scenes in this movie. Especially the scene where we actually get the reveal of her motivations. And we get the reveal of her motivations through a bedtime story. A made-up bedtime story, I might add, but basically her past and the reasons why she's here. And because it's a bedtime story, it doesn't give too much away, so it still leaves some things for the audience to figure out for themselves. But I loved how this movie achieved that. There's so many things that happen in this movie where there's a real sense of dread and terror as you fear for the lives of these kids and what she might do to their brains as she plays these games with them and really twists them. And so there are so many moments in this movie where I was just like, oh god damn it, oh my god. Like there are so many moments that I would do things like that throughout this movie, because it really had me on the edge of my seat and it really made me invested in these characters, and every time they were put into some sort of danger I was just completely on edge. So I was kind of cussing at the movie in a really good way. Now, it's definitely not a perfect movie. It's definitely a simple movie that's done cleverly. It does definitely still have that same structure as an evil babysitter thriller would. Like the climax of the film, it does sort of, I wouldn't say it devolves the film, it definitely sticks to structure, but because the rest of the film was kind of unique in that way, it makes it feel like it breaks out of the uniqueness and goes to typical horror movie climax. And I think the last scene of the movie can really piss a lot of people off because it does have the same cliched ending as almost every serial killer or horror movie franchise where the same villain is in it. It has that same cliched ending. I think you all know what I'm talking about. And it's really crazy in this movie because these aren't supernatural beings, they're normal people. And so yeah, that could piss off quite a few people, I'm sure. Also, it's one of those movies where, yeah, pay attention. If you miss something, you're going to completely miss the movie. And it is an hour and 20 minutes long, so it's a very short movie, and it is really quickly paced, but it's not as quickly paced as most action thrillers because this is a suspense thriller. It is slow paced, but it's way faster, and so it's somewhere in the middle. I can't really determine whether it's a slow paced thriller or a fast one, because things do go quickly, just not to the pace that the most mainstream audience would like. And maybe it's not because of that. Maybe the pacing actually is fast. It's just the dramatic points are a little bit more subtle and not what you expect. And so it feels like nothing too important is happening when it really is. So yeah, this is going to be a movie that you either like or you hate. Also towards the end, it got really dark, and I understand because all the lights go out, and so it is dark, but sometimes it's a little too dark to see what's going on at times. Other than that, I really didn't expect much going into this movie, and I really enjoyed it. I have no problems giving Emelie 4 stars. A solid 4. It's a really great film, but just know going into it, it's going to be a film that you either like or you hate. So have you seen Emelie? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment below. If not, what is your favorite creepy movie about a creepy babysitter? I think there's a few out there. I think even, what's that movie called? Is it Guardian or The Guardian or something like that? It's about an evil babysitter. It's a horror movie. I think that's technically an evil babysitter movie. I forgot about it. I saw it on TV once on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I know it was an actual movie that was released in movie theaters because it was an older movie, but I don't remember the name of it at all. And if you like this video, please subscribe and check out my other movie reviews of 2015 and 2016. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.